Good evening. For this edition of Eddy's Kitchen, we've got some wonderful venison sausage here we're going to cook, and we're going to cook kind of like a vodka cream sauce with it. We're going to make a tomato base, and then we're going to add a little cream toward the end. I know you'll get tired of hearing how good this is, so I want you to try a few of these recipes, and I think you'll agree that it's just wonderful. It's a great way to use some of that great venison sausage that you've made. We're going to serve it over a penne pasta. Going to put a little Parmesan cheese in it toward the end. This one's going to be a little different. Instead of just the stovetop, I'm going to cook it in the oven a little bit, pull it out, puree it, add the cream, add all the ingredients back in. I bet you really like this one. I've got my coarse cut onions and then my garlic in there. One of the great things about this recipe is we're going to take it in a little while after we put it in the oven, and we're going to puree it so we can just kind of coarse cut the onions. We don't have to get them all fine. Same with the garlic. I sliced that a little bit. In the meantime, I'm browning my venison sausage here. I'm going to add about a cup of this Tito's vodka to it. Put that in. Now we're going to cook that on a fairly decent flame. And we're going to get it to where it reduces till about half that's in there before we put our tomatoes in it. Maybe 5 to 7 minutes, something like that. And then we're going to put our crushed tomatoes in there. I already hand crushed my plum tomatoes. I'm going to add those, put a little salt, a little pepper in, and I'm going to put it in the oven at 375 for about an hour and 15, hour and a half. In the meantime, I'll be preparing a few more things, a salad, getting our sausage ready to put back in. We have finished up our sauce here. We've got our coarse cut onions, we've got our garlic that we've sauteed, put a little spices in it. We've got an oven good, all clad copper core pan here. We're going to slide that in, cover that up at 375 and cook it for about an hour and a half. Then we're going to puree it. It is smelling so great right now. I bet you're going to love this recipe. You've heard me talk about chopped kale salad, and you've seen it on some of our dishes before. I wanted to talk a little bit about it. There's nothing to them really. I've got little small tomatoes, little champagne tomatoes. I've got some honeyed pecans. You can also use slivered almonds if you'd like to. And then I've got some dried cranberries here. You could also use some little craisins. I'm just going to take this salad. I'm going to chop up this kale, then I'm going to slice our tomatoes. I'm going to chop our candied pecans just a little bit, mix them all in there together, and a little bit of poppy seed dressing. Like I say, you can always come back and add some. It's kind of like salt. You can't take it away once you put it in there, so be a little careful. I'm going to put a little cracked pepper in it, and then we're going to toss it and see if we need any more, add any more. That looks about the right amount. We've been baking our tomato sauce for about an hour and a half. I wanted to show you what this looks like. It just looks great. We're going to take all this in a food processor, smooth it all up, blend it, return it back to it, add a few more herbs, get our sausage in there, then add a little bit of cream. This is going to be some of the best vodka sauce you've ever had in your life. Get this in. We have got our sauce pureed. We pulled it out of the oven after cooking it for approximately an hour and a half at 375. And we're going to add just a little bit of cream to just make this into a nice, good color, good cream sauce. Recipe calls for a cup. We may be a little bit short of that time we're through. Stir it a little bit. Let's see how it comes out. When we get this worked in, we're going to let it cook just a hair bit more. I undercooked the pasta by maybe a minute or two. Is kind of what the recommended time is. Recommended time's about 10 to 12 minutes, and I probably went about 10 on this if I'm not mistaken. We're going to work that in. Oh my gosh, that looks good. Let's let that sit on the heat just for a couple more minutes so that pasta's done. Got our venison sausage worked in. We've got our pasta worked in. We're going to work in a little bit of Parmesan cheese in here. See what we got here. Work this in just a little bit, and it will be ready to serve here in just a second. I'm going to try and keep this as clean as I can. I've got a wonderful sauce made here. We've got our venison sausage. We're going to garnish this with just a little piece of fresh oregano. Maybe put a little extra cheese on it there at the end. There we go. Does that look great or what, guys?